Well, Prime Minister Modi is on his five-state visit ahead of the elections. While he was in Odisha, Prime Minister Narendra Modi halted his speech midway upon noticing children raising pictures brought as gifts for him. He asked the children to mention their addresses on the back of the pictures while promising to write letters to them. Prime Minister Modi asked the Special Protection Group, the SPG commandos, in the middle of his speech to collect the pictures from the children who were constantly raising them during his address at a rally in Jaipur. He said, "I request SPG commandos to collect the pictures that were constantly being showed." Not just this, he lauded the youth for bringing digitalization in the country. Not just this, he also interacted with students while he was traveling in the underwater metro in Kolkata today. Zeroing in upon the same, we are discussing how Prime Minister Modi has left no stone unturned to address and interact with youth of the country, from Pariksha Pe Charcha to Yuva Shakti programs to addressing the first-time voters. Prime Minister's Yuva push is evident in all his campaigns. Before we dip into this discussion, let's quickly listen in to what he said.
यहाँ बरौनी का खाद कारखाना कब से बंद पड़ा था? इन परिवारवादियों को कभी इसकी चिंता नहीं हुई। मोदी ने किसानों को, मजदूरों को इसे फिर से शुरू करवाने की गारंटी दी थी। आज ये खाद कारखाना अपनी सेवा दे रहा है और नौजवानों को रोजगार भी दे रहा है। और इसलिए ही लोग कहते हैं मोदी की गारंटी यानी गारंटी पूरा होने की गारंटी। आज कई विकसित देशों में भी ऐसी डिजिटल व्यवस्था नहीं है जो बेतिया में, चंपारण में उपलब्ध है। विदेशी नेता जब मुझसे मिलते हैं तो पूछते हैं कि मोदी जी, आपने ये सब इतनी जल्दी कैसे किया? तब मैं उन्हें कहता हूं कि ये मोदी ने नहीं, ये भारत के नौजवानों ने किया है। मोदी ने तो भारत के हर युवा को उनके हर कदम पर साथ देने की गारंटी दी है। और विकसित बिहार के लिए आज यही गारंटी मैं बिहार के युवा को भी दे रहा हूं।
All right, PM's zeal and his appeal towards the youth is what we're going to be discussing in the next half an hour. Mr. Sumit Peer, senior political analyst, with us on the program. Savi Rodriguez, BJP leader, also joins us on the show. Advocate Ashpreet Khadiyal, Congress spokesperson, joins us on the show. Firoz Bakht Ahmed, former Chancellor, Maulana Azad University, is also joining us on the show. Rashmi Samant, political analyst, with us on the show as well. Last but by no means the least, Advocate Kunal Sharma, CS India and political analyst, also joining us on the program as well. All right, thank you everyone for being a part of this conversation. Advocate Ashpreet Khadiyal, I'll begin with you. You are from the opposition. You know, it's important to understand how you feel about this discussion that we are having. We will have a lot of people on the show who are going to talk about how the Prime Minister has its own unique formula when it comes to youth of the country. So did many of the former Prime Ministers too. But how the Prime Minister showcases it is what makes it very, very interesting. You know, stopping a speech midway to accommodate these kids who warmly wanted to gift him something is obviously very, very touching. Apart from the politics, Ashpreet, what do you make of this personal touch that the Prime Minister has been able to communicate with the youth of the country? Do you think that will translate into votes for the Bharatiya Janata Party in the Lok Sabha elections, which are not very far off?
Well, the real question here is, does the Bharatiya Janata Party want this to be translated into votes? Was it their objective or was it not their objective? And why did we not see this happen in the last 10 years? They say Modi ka parivar, but when they had the time to make the people of India their family, including the poor, the oppressed, the downtrodden, the opposition ruled states, the Bharatiya Janata Party for once did not consider them their family. On the other hand, they made the rich their family, they made the corporates their family, They made the powerful their family. And I'd like to ask this question to the Bharatiya Janata Party. When they talk of the youth, what is the unemployment rate in India? It's the maximum in the last 45 years, highest ever that India has seen in the last 45 years. Number two, for the people, for the youth that is a graduate, around 25 years of age, the unemployment rate qua them is around 42%. And that is for the graduates. Number three, the Bharatiya Janata Party talked of the youth, the poor, the farmers and the women. Why are they not a parivar to the Bharatiya Janata Party is my question. And on one hand, they say, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. And on the other hand, the Bharatiya Janata Party, the parivar have Brij Bhushan, Kuldeep Sengar, Chinmayanand, Sandeep Singh, and all these people. So if they actually practiced what they preached, I think these leaders wouldn't have been there in the Bharatiya Janata Party. And number two, when the Bharatiya Janata Party says BJP ka parivar, does it also include the top 50 willful loan defaulters, Vijay Mallya, Mehul Choksi, Nirav Modi, and all these leaders? Number three,
you're going political now. Ashpreet, you're going political now. Ashpreet, you're going political. No, regardless of the topic, I'm sure you would have come up with the same thing, right? Regardless of what we were discussing or what the agenda is here, right? That's not what. Yeah, go on. Finish your point.
So all I'm saying is this was done with an objective to have an impact on the upcoming elections, to influence the voters. And the Bharatiya Janata Party leaves no stone unturned when it comes to campaigning, advertising and marketing and branding, especially before the elections. Like I said, they talk of youth and farmers.
So you admit that they're good at attracting voters. You admit that.
I'll tell you one thing. The time that has been given to them, to Mr. Modi for governance, that time has been used for campaigning. Therefore, the governance has suffered. The development in the country has been halted for the last 10 years. The 30+ schemes that they copied and pasted to the Congress party.
Ashpreet, do you think that in the last 10 years, the slate for this government is completely blank? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
How is that possible? How is that? Even a country like Ghana has developed in the last 10 years, and you think India will not? You know, there was a point in time when the Congress party went on to say that regardless of what the Modi government did, you know, India's GDP and growth would have been by default as to what it is today. That's exactly
answering a question. Yeah. Answering a question, Uday, in a very, very short statement. See, the Bharatiya Janata Party slate is not, clean. They have a lot of achievements, of course. Unemployment rate the highest. Poverty rate has increased. Inflation has increased. There's been no development. The promises of 15 lakh, 2 crore jobs, doubling farmers' income, reducing inflation, everything has been undelivered. So, there, dictatorship, negligence, ignorance, jumlas and jhoot. What do these 5 things have in common? Bharatiya Janata Party. And one last thing, when they talk of the youth and the farmers in one breath, in this farmers protest 2.0, a young farmer has been killed, a 0 FIR has been registered. And the Bharatiya Janata Party is quiet about this. I mean, you say Annadata is our family, but when it comes to making them your family, when it comes to doing something for them, Mr. Modi, when he was the Chief Minister, said himself, MSP should be given as a legal guarantee. When he was the Prime Minister...
But he didn't say that for all crops. He didn't say that for all crops. He said that for certain crops. No. He didn't say that for all crops. Okay, all right. I understand your drift. I understand your drift. Let me also rope in other voices as well. We have a packed house today. Sumit Peer, how do you respond to what Advocate Karyal has said? Do you think that the slate for the Bharatiya Janata is blank, or do you think that the opposition is always looking at the glass half empty?
विनीत जी थोड़ा हिंदी के गाने से शुरू करूंगा दुनिया पागल है या फिर मैं दीवाना I'm not telling it on anybody. Just एक गाना याद आया था मुझे. From 1.8 trillion to 4 trillion of GDP, from 200 billion of foreign exchange reserve to 630. Number 4 in hydrocarbons, $770 billion of exports, right? You have tested around 36 more than missiles. You have developed a LCA, LCH. You're the biggest petroleum refining capacity of the world. You are exporting medicines to 203 countries. You're controlling 40%.
But Sumit, who's talking about this? Who's talking about this? Who's saying this? Is the international media saying this, or are you saying this?
International media. You're
okay.
the fastest.
All right. Okay. That's the difference.
International economy. I'm not, sir. Ye hamara economics nahi. It's
no, I just want you to quote your sources so that people know that it's not you who's saying this.
No, it's not me who's saying it. So it is the international media statistics I'm going. Fastest growing economy. Your last quarter did double of the same quarter last year. You are the hope of the world economy. You will grow at 7.8%. And let me remind you and quote you from Prime Minister Modi's speech. He said that when in 2014 Mr. Chidambaram presented the interim budget, he said to reach the 5th largest economy and to have this GDP, it will take us 30 years. So when Modi did it in 10 years, that is not an achievement. When you were at 11th, Mr. Chidambaram said it's a reason to celebrate. When you are at number 5th, going to number 3, Modi ne kuch nahi kiya. When your exports are at $770 trillion and this year we're going to do 770 billion, this year we're going to do $1 trillion, you were at 230 billion, Modi ne kuch nahi kiya. When you have the biggest semiconductor ecosystem, Modi ne kuch nahi kiya. When you have inoculated more than 200 crore लोगों को आपने टीका लगाया, मोदी ने कुछ नहीं किया. In fact, mortality rate is all time low. मोदी ने कुछ नहीं किया. And let me show you, sir. I wanted to show you this. I'm not quoting. You can see this. The inflation right now is 6.8% from the Google. Anybody can do it. 6.8% from the Google. It's not 4-time high. And let me talk about the unemployment. This is the unemployment. It's 6.8%. Inflation is around less than 5%. In US, it's 3.5%. And in Europe, it's around 3.6%.
Okay.
And let me talk about the repo rates.
Okay. I know where you're going with this. I want Savio to come in on this as well. Savio, yeah, as usual, we have veered off from, the topic. We have evaporated from the discussion. The appeal with which the youth is in fact, turning advocates for the Bharatiya Janata Party. What does that say about their work, Savio?
I'm a man of data. And Amit Bagaria and myself, we are writing a book on the 10 years of transformational policies of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So let me give you...
Hope you can mention this debate in that book.
Yes. So I'm going to just highlight a few data points for the uninformed or those who deliberately want to remain uninformed. So the first data point was from 2006 to 2013. The startup culture in India saw 350 startups. From 2014 till December 31st, 2023, there were 1,17,215 startups registered with the government of India. Now, 80% to 82% of most of the startups are the youth or the young adults of India. That's data point number 1, which I'm sure my friend from the Congress is not aware of. Now, let me give you another data point, and I will read it out because I don't like to miss numbers. The Skill India has 42,645 training centers offering 552 skills courses and runs 1,502 job exchanges. In the National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme, known as the NAP scheme, more than 1.852 million youth received apprenticeship training. This number grew from 35,516 in 2018 to 7,37,000 for the financial year 2023. The Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, which was launched in 2015, let me tell you some data there. There are 4,732 specialized skill training centers where over 14.235 million have been trained. 80.5% have received certifications and 19.8% of those certified have been placed in jobs.
Okay.
So what are we talking about? Do the opposition read data, or are they coming here to create a fugazi of information with absolutely no data?
Understood.
When you talk to somebody like me on a panel, please get some data.
All right, understood. Let me also rope in Advocate Kunal Sharma into this conversation. In fact, he's one of those leaders who interacts with youths on a regular basis. Advocate Sharma, what do you make of the Prime Minister's popularity? You deal with youngsters, you deal with the youth of this country in droves, in thousands. What impression do they have of the Prime Minister? And you hail from Gujarat as well.
I think the charisma which our Prime Minister gets to the table and the commendable connect which the Bharatiya Janata Party and the current government has been able to connect with the school students, the college students, and the working professionals. I think it is a kind of an inspiration for a lot of young people. And I believe that India has always been a country and a lot of policy makers in the country, but the way this government has been able to execute those policies, whether we talk about Digital India, we talk about Skill Up India, we talk about other policies which the current government has been getting. I think it is inspirational for a lot of young people, and also with the way how they've been taking along the education system, they've been working with schools, government schools, and the kids. I think it is commendable.
Okay. All right. Let me also rope in Firoz Bakht Ahmed into this conversation. Mr. Ahmed, sir, appreciate your patience. What do you make of this conversation, and how is the Prime Minister's appeal really not focusing on the negatives, that is often brought out by the opposition? But it's important to know, where we lack as well. The opposition's job is to pull up the government and make sure that, a lot of these anomalies that, are found in our systems are addressed.
Thank you, Vineet. I really feel enlightened in the company of my learned colleagues. Maybe they are on the side of the governance or they are against it. But all of them have spoken wonderfully, whether it is our lawyer from Congress, Savio, or Sumit Peer. Now, Savio and Sumit Peer deprived me of the words in my mouth by giving all those figures, how Prime Minister Modi has actually rendered a human service to the cause of the nation. Anyway, I'll add two things and then I'll come to answering your question. Now, you see here, as far as this governance for the last 10 years is concerned, the number of this aims from 6 has gone to 23. One, the number of roads built. Earlier, 10 years ago, it was 23,000 kilometers, now it has actually increased to 57 odd kilometers. So, I mean, there's a lot of work which this man has done. Now, some colleague of mine was saying everything is seen from the point of view of election. India is the largest democracy of the world. Every other day, there is an election of one kind or the other, right? So, whenever there is good job done, rather than in a large-hearted manner appreciating this governance, if you don't like Modi, okay, don't appreciate him. At least, appreciate the work done by this government, whatever it is. For the last 10 years, I am not carrying the brief of BJP or Sangh or VHP or any other Sangathan. I am a very simple, a very small, person, a citizen of India. So I am seeing this objectively, and the kind of work which this government has done for the last 10 years, whatever the field is, it's humongous. It's really marvelous. And now coming to the answer of your question, give me 5 more seconds, Vineet. ऐसा है, as far as women are concerned, farmers are concerned, or whosoever, whatever, youth are concerned, Modi calls them as part of his family, number one. He also says that these are the castes. Actually, the way Congress divided India into majority, minority, India unfortunately became a house. But for the last 10 years, since this government came, India has become a united house, number one. Number two, as far as reservations are concerned, or whatever is concerned, India actually has, 2 kinds of representations of people. Modi rightly said women, youth, right, and Kisan. But I believe the haves and have-nots. Modi added it to it. And lastly, let me tell you one more thing. In fact, among all these people, Muslim women are very thankful to Prime Minister Modi for having done away with triple talaq, right?
Yes.
And Muslims in Kashmir, just a minute, just 2 seconds. Vineet, please don't cut me short. And Muslims, they are totally against this man, the Farooq son and father company. Farooq will be definitely defeated by anyone who is actually against him.
Okay, all right. We have others. We have to move on, sir. Rashmi Sawant, political analyst, also joins us. All right, sir. Rashmi Sawant, political analyst, also joins us on the show. Rashmi Sawant, what is the Prime Minister's Youth Connect? And is it palpable? Is it visible? Is it something that has, lent him and given him this, extra sheen of appreciation?
Well, I do believe that as a youth, the one politician I connect to most with is Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He's actually given us all a country that we are really proud to belong to and proud to, put decades of work into a country whose future. Long ago, we had leaders who were painting a very great picture of the kind of country we were living in, and the prospects for the youth were very little. What he's done for the youth, I believe, is something which enables us to relate most to him. And the second part, I believe, is that he's one man who's demonstrated that age is just a number. You can look at President Biden and you can look at Prime Minister Modi. The difference is palpable. And I do believe that these are some of the things that make him great. One of the biggest things that he's built a country that we all see.
Okay, all right. Let me also rope in Advocate Ashpreet Karyal into this conversation once again. Ashpreet, do you think that great leaders are often misunderstood? If you look at Winston Churchill, he literally saved the Western civilization during World War II, but once the war was over, the people of the United Kingdom kicked him out. Do you think great leaders are often misunderstood, as is the case when it comes to Prime Minister Modi, and this misunderstanding by the opposition, or do you think it's the opposition's just mere job, to target everything?
The opposition's job is basically to ensure that the voice of the people is heard. And when they try to do that, they suspend one MP of the opposition, specifically 2/3 that belong to India. Number two, it's the Congress party that is actually for the youth, and the Bharatiya Janata Party that is anti-youth. I'll give an example. On one hand, there's this Congress party that's brought the right to information, that's brought the right to education, that's brought the IITs, IIMs, and many more things. Even the things that the Bharatiya Janata Party is very proudly today selling off. And number two, the Bharatiya Janata Party in the last 10 years hasn't really been able to do anything substantive for the youth when our manifesto would be out to see right to apprenticeship in that. And we'll do away with all the acts that the party or that their allies would want to stay. There are obstacles and impediments in the way of the youth to get jobs. Number three, the Bharatiya Janata Party has done one thing for the youth, of course. It's made their life very difficult.
Okay, Ashpreet, we've lost you. We've also run out of time. Unfortunately, Sumit, we don't have any more time left. Sumit Peer, Savio, Kunal, appreciate you joining us.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.